welcome to Skratchmade. I'm your host, Jaclyn. I am the owner and executive chef of Skratchmade Personal Chef Services out of Orange County, California. I want to tell you a little bit about myself before I get going here. So I attended New England Culinary Institute in Montpelier, Vermont. I started off as a dishwasher in a local kitchen there until I worked my way up to head chef, where we were recognized as Best Brunch in Vermont by Yankee Magazine in 2018. From there, I went to work at a nice catering outfit. We did upscale weddings and catered events. And from there, on the down season, I decided to take an open-ended road trip 1 year and found myself landed in Orange County, California, where luckily I was able to land a position in a Michelin Bib Gourmand restaurant called Terrace by Mix Mix, and also a Michelin star restaurant called Knife Pleat under Chef Tony Esnault. From there, I went on to be a sous chef at the 4-star Diamond Balboa Bay Resort in Newport Beach. So from there, I went on to become a sous chef at the Forbes 4-star Resort Balboa Bay in Newport Beach, California, before starting my own personal chef services businesses in 2020 called Skratchmade. So we're gonna be making some really delicious, healthy, nutritious dishes today that I'm really excited to share with you. We're gonna start with a couple of dipping sauces that are gonna go really nicely with all three dishes. We have a peanut sauce and a chili honey sauce. So we're gonna have a smooth, nice peanut buttery flavor sauce and then a spicy sweet sauce that it will accompany all the dishes really well. Those sauces are going to accompany the dishes really well depending on what flavor you're looking for to balance the dish. We're going to make as our entrees a really delicious ground chicken lettuce wrap using Boston lettuce, ground chicken, and some delicious sauteed vegetables, along with some chili garlic edamame, which is super fast, super easy, super delicious, and finishing with some very fresh shrimp spring rolls with some rice paper, beautiful fresh herbs, and some raw vegetables there. So I'm excited to get started. Hi, welcome to Skratchmade. I'm your host, Jaclyn, today. I'm owner executive chef of Skratchmade based out of Orange County, California. We do meal prep, small catering, cooking classes, fine dining. So thanks for being here. Today we're gonna get started with a peanut sauce. It is a very simple recipe, but it's packed with a bunch of flavor. We're gonna start with obviously our peanut butter. We can use up to a quarter to half a cup. It's really your discretion. From there, we're gonna add some soy sauce. I'd say about a tablespoon or two. This is gonna help obviously break down the peanut butter. We need to add a little bit of hot sauce, just give it, a little kick. Everything always tastes better with a little zing, I think. We also have some rice wine vinegar, or you can use mirin. You want something with a tang. You could use white vinegar maybe, but I would definitely say try to stick to the rice wine vinegar. It complements the flavor of the peanut butter and the soy sauce best, I think. We're also gonna add a little bit zest of lime and fresh lime juice. This really just freshens the sauce. Again, it also gives it a little tang, which is nice. This sauce has a lot of flavors going on. It has the salty and the creamy and the sweetness of the peanut butter. Like I said, it has the zip of the hot sauce, the tang of the lime, tang of the rice wine vinegar. And we're also going to add some garlic and ginger, which really go nice in the sauce as well. So just chop our lime up. Probably add the whole juice of a lime. I like acid forward flavors too, so that's something you can use at your discretion as well. If you're not the biggest fan of lime, you don't have to put a lot in there. So that's what's nice about this recipe too. You can definitely play with it, play with the ratios, and make it however you like it best. But like I said, I like a lot of lime, so we're gonna zip up a lot of lime. There's no need to stir it until we have all the ingredients in there. So now I'm gonna add just 1 clove of garlic. It is a nice size clove. If you have small guys, maybe use 2. And we definitely wanna zest our garlic and ginger in this dish. you want everything to be nice and smooth. You don't want to take a bite and have, you know, a chunk of garlic or a spicy piece of ginger come through. That's never that enjoyable. So about a 1-inch knob of garlic to go with your 1-inch knob of ginger to go with your 1 garlic clove. This recipe is pretty easy to remember too, because it starts with the biggest amount of peanut butter. Like I said, 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup. From there, you're putting pretty much equal parts of your soy sauce and your lime and your hot sauce and your rice wine vinegar. So that's makes it pretty much easy to remember, about tablespoon or 2 of the rest of those ingredients. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of this spicy chili sauce. I like a little bit more of heat in my dishes. This is a little salty, spicy heat touch as well. And then from there, we're gonna start mashing it up. The peanut butter is very thick, so it's gonna take a minute to come together. And if it starts to stay very thick while you're mixing it, we have some water that we're gonna add to thin it out here, because peanut butter at first wants to stay kind of clumpy. It'll look kind of gritty, but it will come to a nice creamy consistency once you add enough water to emulsify it and thin it out. So we've been stirring for a minute here, and it's a little, you know, it's not a smooth consistency yet, so this is where our water is gonna come in and smooth the sauce out very nicely. So again, probably the same ratio as the soy sauce, just about a tablespoon or 2 of water, but also to your discretion. If you like it a little thinner, you can add a little bit more water. If you like it a little thicker, don't add as much water. The color is also going to change a little bit. It's going to go from that soy sauce, peanut butter, rich caramel color to a lighter brown color. So you're looking for that change as well. So right now mine won't fall off the whisk, so I'm going to add a little bit more water because I want it to be not runny, but pourable. You want a pourable consistency. So now we've got a little bit more of a drippy consistency. I'm gonna add even a little bit more water. But actually what I'm gonna do first is taste it, because I wanna make sure all the flavors are balanced. If it tastes a little too salty, I can add a little rice wine vinegar. If it needs a touch more of the kick, I can add a little bit more of the hot sauce. So let's see where we're at. It's good. I think you can add a touch more of the soy sauce, a little bit more salt in there. So sprinkle a little bit more of that in. Let's keep on whisking. And now it's more of a loose consistency, more of a dipping sauce, because that's what this is. This is a dipping sauce for what we're making today. I'll give it one more taste, make sure that it is where I want it to be. So we're gonna taste it one more time to make sure that it's where we want it to be. So let me just give it a taste here. And I think it's great. It's creamy, it has the saltiness of the soy sauce, the little spice from the hot sauce, the acidity from the lime and the rice wine vinegar. You can taste the ginger and the garlic a little bit. It's not overpowering. Like I said, it's a very nice sauce. It's super easy to make, comes together in a second and packs a lot of flavor. Welcome back to Skratchmade. We're gonna get going on our chili honey sauce now. Again, this is a very simple mixing recipe, but is very delicious. So we have our bowl here. We're gonna start with about a 1/4 cup of honey. Now we're gonna add about a tablespoon of soy sauce. Full sodium soy sauce is what we wanna use here. That's where we're flavoring, salting our honey. We're gonna add some of our spicy chili garlic sauce. So this is fried chili with some fried garlic, some sesame seeds in a sesame oil. Depending on the chili sauce that you get, some can be very spicy, some can have no spice at all. So if that's something you're worried about, just make sure you're checking the label when you pick them up. Some will say spicy, some will say crunchy garlic. So pick up whichever one you would prefer. But we're just gonna give this a really simple stir, make sure that they are combined very nicely. And then we're gonna thin it out with some water again, because this is very thick, and like I said, it's a dipping sauce, so we want it to be a little pourable. Not watery, but a little pourable. So keep this stirring here, and I'm a big garlic and ginger girl, so we're gonna add just a little bit of garlic and ginger to this sauce as well. So we're gonna use our microplane, and this is a very big clove of garlic. I wouldn't say use this whole piece for the size sauce that we're making. It's only gonna be about 3/4 of a cup of sauce, so I would say even just a quarter of the knob of ginger. So just a little grate in there is perfect. That's all we need. Just want a touch of the flavor. I'm gonna use my whisk, make sure I get it stirred around a little better. And this is pretty much it. Like I said, again, these sauces are so easy to make, but they are so flavorful. And with the chicken lettuce wraps and the fresh shrimp rolls we're gonna do today, I think they're amazing sauces to go with them. You have the one creamy, and then you have this one that's spicy, more watery here. And then we're just gonna top off with a few scallions, some diced green onions. They make everything better. And that's that. We'll give it a taste to make sure that everything is balanced. See if we need to add maybe a little bit more soy for salt, or a little more chili powder for some heat. I think it's great. It's sweet from the honey. You kind of get the after kick of the chili once it's going down. And it's really nice sauce. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Skratchmade. I'm your host, Chef Jaclyn. We're gonna get going on our chicken lettuce wraps now, which is a really exciting recipe. It's delicious and it's virtually guilt-free. It's packed with protein, vegetables. Our wraps are made of lettuce, so it's something that you can eat a ton of and not feel bad about. So we'll get going on that. Gonna warm up our pan here. We have some sesame oil. I like to use sesame oil whenever I'm cooking with Asian flavors. Just adds another touch of flavor to the recipe, so that's always a good thing. So we'll let this heat up for a second. Usually like to go high heat during the beginning. It helps the pan warm up faster, and we're gonna be searing our chicken first. So once we get that into the pan, we're gonna make a nice thin layer of it. This way it has some time to caramelize from the bottom, which gives it really great flavor. The Maillard reaction is what that's called, when the meat kind of, the sugars form a nice little crust on the bottom. So we wanna get that going. And then we'll start to add other ingredients, fold other ingredients in, so that we don't want our chicken to burn. We just want the nice caramelization on the bottom. So we do want to wait and get our pan not screaming hot. You obviously never want any smoke to be coming up from the pan, but we do want it hot so that when we put our protein in, you get a nice little sizzle. So one secret I'm going to share with you in order to know that your oil is up to temp is when you swirl the pan around, it's not gonna have any legs anymore. It's gonna be more of a smooth consistency, and that's how you can tell it's up to temp. So now that we're there, we're gonna add our ground chicken to the pan. And like I said, you wanna hear that nice sizzle when the chicken goes in, so that you know the bottom's gonna start to crisp up and get that nice sugary crunch on the bottom. So now what I'm gonna do is just go through the chicken and push it down to the pan as best I can. Try to flatten it out as much as you can, so as much of the bottom is coated to the heat of the pan as possible. And now you can also hear that the simmer has calmed down a little bit. That's good. We don't want it to be racing full force the whole time, because then we're gonna burn our chicken. So that's great. Now that that's starting to caramelize a little bit under there, we're gonna add our minced garlic and ginger. Again, we're gonna use a microplane. It just makes it melts the flavors into the proteins better, and it just makes the flavor more evenly throughout. So I love my microplane. My microplane is probably one of my favorite tools in the kitchen to work with. I use it for everything. So we'll probably do about 4 cloves of garlic for our 1 pound of chicken. I noticed that a lot of recipes out there kind of max out at maybe 2 cloves of garlic, and that's something I definitely don't agree with. I love garlic. I go heavy with it in all my recipes, so just be careful not to microplane the tip of your finger. I've been there a lot of times before. All right, so now our garlic has joined the party, so now we're gonna add a little bit of ginger to our party as well. So about an inch knob for the chicken lettuce wraps as well. Ginger can be a very pungent and spicy flavor for some. So again, you can use it at your discretion. If you really love the flavor of ginger, go all out, add as much as you want. It's your recipe, so make it how you'd like. So now that our ginger and garlic are on top there, I like to just give them a little swirl about, let them coat the meat on top while the bottom is still caramelizing. Because we don't want the ginger and garlic to touch the bottom of the pan. That will make them burn. We don't want the burn. So I'm gonna season with a little bit of salt right now. A little happy amount. And now I think our chicken has been browning on the bottom long enough that we can start to give it a toss around. Yeah. So you can see here, got some caramelized brownness on the bottom. That's what we're looking for. We don't want black or brown, just a little bit of caramelized color to add a little bit different depth to the dish, depth of flavor. Now that we're going, we can turn the heat down just a little bit from high to about medium there while we continue to cook everything. And you want to cook the chicken until the liquid has evaporated from the pan. So that's the way to tell when everything's starting to come together. So once this water has evaporated, we're gonna put the chicken in a dish to the side and we'll start sauteing our vegetables and get the sauce going. This is a very quick recipe as well, and I really love this recipe because you can do it as a quick dinner. This can be used as a meal prep. You can make this on Monday and take a little bit with you to work every week with some fresh lettuce wraps. Could be a great snack if it's just maybe 7 o'clock at night and you're hungry and you're looking for a treat. Like I said, this could be a really nice, guilt-free, but really flavorful little treat for you. So, okay, so I'm gonna let this cook down for a few minutes, probably about 5 to 7 minutes. And then when we come back, we'll start sauteing our vegetables. Hi, thanks for being here. We're getting back to our chicken lettuce wraps right now. I have my mushrooms kind of melting in my pan already. They take about 10 minutes to release their water. Mushrooms are filled with water and that's great, but we don't want them watering our dish up. So we want to cook them until they're a little caramelized and they've released all their water as well. This way, when we add our sauces, they can really absorb the sauce and bring a lot more flavor to the dish. So about 8 ounces of mushrooms I've minced up pretty fine. They add a nice meaty consistency, but I like everything to be more minced up. This way when you're building your lettuce wraps, it's not big chunks of food falling out, you know, it's easier to build your wrap. So now that our mushrooms have melted enough here, I have about 2 shallots that we're gonna add to the bowl. Again, I'm using some sesame oil to saute all these veggies up. Just gonna keep using some sesame oil throughout this dish. So now that our shallots are in there, they are going to release just a touch of water as well, so that'll be nice for the mushrooms. If you start to see any blackening, definitely lower your heat. I like to use pretty high heat just because everything kind of cooks a little bit faster, but that's completely up to your discretion. It will just take longer if you use a lower heat. It's not like the end flavor is going to come out different, so that's completely up to you. I am going to add just a touch of rice wine vinegar. This does deglaze the pan in case there was any little bit of sticking from the chicken or anything like that. So you hear that really nice sizzle, and that's letting you know that all of the yummy bits are being picked up from the bottom of the pan there. So that's a really nice sound. We definitely want to hear that. So we gave our shallots just a minute head start before we add our carrots here. We have about 1 full carrot diced up, pretty nice sized. And we've already added our garlic and our ginger to our chicken, so we're not going to add any more to this. I think we have enough going on in that flavor there. But I do want to add some more zest and fresh lime juice. So always give your limes and your lemons a quick little roll on the counter. It helps to disperse the juices and get them flowing more easily for when you have to squeeze them. You want to zest as if you're holding kind of like a baseball, and up and down one row, give it a little turn, up and down one row. It's kind of a little technique thing you learn as you go. So add that right to the pan. It also gives it a little pretty bright lime color going through, which, you know, we eat with our eyes, so it's always nicer. The prettier the dish, the more appealing it is, I think. Okay, so we're gonna want to let our vegetables saute for about 4 or 5 minutes. This way the carrot gets to a nice, not mushy, but not a crunchy consistency. You don't want to bite into a raw carrot in your lettuce wrap. So we'll let this cook for just a minute, and then we'll add our sauces and our chicken back to the pan, and we're pretty much ready to assemble our wraps. Hi, thanks for being here. I'm Chef Jaclyn, and we're continuing on with our chicken lettuce wraps. We have our vegetables that have been sauteing for about 5 minutes now. You can notice the depth of color change in the mushrooms. They're a much heartier brown color. I've let our carrots wilt down for about 5 minutes as well. This way, like I said, you don't want a big crunch of a raw carrot going on in your lettuce wrap. So these have been going. I think they're at a good temp. We are gonna add our water chestnuts. These are straight from a can, just diced up. They add a nice crunch to the lettuce wrap. They really don't hold much flavor. It's really just more of a texture thing for the wrap. So add those guys. Don't need to give them any time in the pan to wilt down. They're good as they are. And we're gonna add our chicken back to the party. So add all of our nice caramelized brown chicken there. And then from there, we're gonna give this a nice swirl around, and then we add our sauce components, and then we're done. Then it's the fun part of building and eating our wrap. So give this a minute. We are going to deglaze again with our rice wine vinegar. Since all the veggies have been cooking for a few minutes now, there's gonna be a little more of those caramelized bits on the bottom. So we hear that nice little sound again. Now we're also going to add our soy sauce. This is a big part of the sauce for our wraps. I haven't really been salting the dish very much. We added a little bit of salt in the beginning to the chicken to flavor it, but because there is a decent amount of soy sauce in this dish, definitely don't salt your veggies as you go, because you'll be over salting at that point, and there's no coming back once you over salt as hard as you try, unfortunately. Definitely made that mistake a few times. So get this going real nice. We're also going to add our hoisin sauce, which is a big component to the sauce as well. That's really all the sauce is composed of. We have our rice wine vinegar, our soy sauce, our hoisin, and our chili crunch. Another reason why I like these recipes is that there are a lot of the same components going on between the sauces and the wraps and the spring rolls. So it's not one of those meals where you have to go out and buy 50 different ingredients for one dish. You know, you have 7 or so ingredients and you use them across the board, and that's awesome. So this is looking really good now. Nice creamy veggie chicken stir. We're gonna finish it with a little bit of our fresh lime juice, and I get right in there with my fingers and squeeze. We don't have to worry about any seeds in the limes, luckily, so I find that I get the most juice just digging right in there with my paws. So we'll do one. This too, if this is something where you're not too crazy about heavy acidity, leave the lime out, do half a lime, whatever you like. Again, it's your recipe. So crank up the heat just a touch. It's been on medium since we've been doing our veggies, but just to have the liquids absorb a little bit faster, we just crank the heat up just a touch. This looks and smells really good, and like I said, that's really awesome because it's a very healthy dish too, so this one's a winner. Okay, so when we come back, we're gonna build and enjoy our wraps. Hi there. So we have our beautiful bowl of ground chicken and veggies. It smells so good. I'm getting so hungry. So now we just got to put our garnishes on and we're ready to eat. So I have some freshly washed cilantro right here. We're just gonna give it a rough chop. It adds a lot of beautiful color to the dish, and the fresh herb obviously adds a lot of freshness. I love cilantro. I love all herbs. I use them as much as I can in my cooking. I just think they bring a lot of vibrant freshness to every dish. So I'm a big fan of fresh herbs. So like I said, just a little rough chop of our cilantro here. We're gonna add it right on top. Pretty, pretty. And we have our diced green onions, our scallions here. So we're gonna sprinkle these right on top as well. And our freshly diced salted peanuts. You can do unsalted, salted. This is at your discretion. I enjoy a lot of flavor, so I got the salted. And that's it. This is a very beautiful looking dish. It looks very fresh. It doesn't look heavy. You know, like I said, it's something that you can definitely eat without feeling guilty about. So we have our washed Boston lettuce here. To wash the lettuce is very easy. You just remove the stem from the bottom and run it under the water, and the leaves literally just pull off so easily. So you don't have to worry about chopping any of the lettuce or anything like that. So I like to grab two, a little extra security for our wrap. We're gonna just spoon it right into our wrap here. So I got a nice spoonful. Wanna make sure I get all the bits. And I'm going to use our peanut sauce from before. That's the sauce that is my favorite. So we'll give it a nice little sprinkle of the peanut butter right on top there. And it's time to eat. So here we go. It's very good. You get the kick of the chili crunch. You have the crunch of the peanut, the crunch of the water chestnut, the crunch of the carrot, which are all varying levels of crunch, which is really nice. You have umami from the mushroom. You have the ground chicken, and everything has just absorbed our hoisin and our soy sauce and our rice vinegar. So great. It's a really excellent dish, and I hope you enjoy it. Hi, we're back with Skratchmade. We're gonna move on to our super easy, super healthy, super delicious shrimp spring rolls. So we're gonna start with our poached shrimp here. I've already cooked them. They're chilling now in our poaching liquid, which is super important for the recipe. It's really the only cooking that we're gonna be doing for the recipe. So for that poaching liquid, I did about 4 quarts of water, half a bottle of white wine, doesn't matter what kind of white wine, Chardonnay, Pinot Grigio, whatever you want to use. I also did 1 jalapeno, 1 full diced onion, a few smashed cloves of garlic, a very generous amount of salt, I would say about 3 tablespoons to 1/4 of a cup. And then we also added the stems of cilantro and some basil stems. They just add a nice earthy freshness to the poaching liquid as well. We want to add an obscene amount of salt to the poaching liquid because that's our only chance to flavor our shrimp. So we want that water to be extremely flavorful, that poaching liquid, because that's when we're going to season our shrimp, and they're the star of the dish. So we want them to really stand out, be very vibrant in the dish. So now we have these. The rest of the elements of this dish, we have our thinly sliced cucumber, our very thinly sliced fresh carrot, some freshly washed basil here, some cilantro, and some mint. We are using our rice paper wraps, which you can find in any novelty Asian market. Nowadays, everything is becoming pretty mainstream, so they're not very difficult to find. You could probably find them in any local grocery store. We have our dips that we made before still. We have our peanut sauce and our chili honey sauce because they also go very nicely with the spring roll, so why not just keep on using them? So I have our rice paper melting in a sense in our water here. It's got to sit in the water for about 2 minutes or so. That's what makes it become pliable. It goes from this, not bendable piece of rice paper to this completely pliable, almost looks like it could be a facial mask for you ladies watching out there. So we're gonna just put this down on our bowl. You have to be gentle. It will poke, you know, if you put a nail through there or something, so just be gentle with it. This is definitely more of a technique kind of recipe. It's obviously not difficult cooking, but it might take a few tries technique, so make sure you have enough rice papers to get through when you're doing it. So we're gonna start just by, it's almost like putting together a burrito. So we have our tortilla out here. We're gonna line the bottom with some fresh basil and some fresh mint as well. These herbs, you know, you can play with as well. Since we're going with the Asian flavor profile, I think basil, mint, cilantro, I think they complement themselves really well. But if you wanted to get creative and throw some chives in there, some thinly shredded scallions, you could do that. So really just whatever flavors you want to taste the most. If we have the sharp corners of just the cucumbers and the carrots, there could be a good chance it'll poke through when you're trying to roll it. So you want that nice little bed of fresh herb on the bottom to blanket everything else going in the spring roll and make sure they're pretty delicate when they're being. So we have our herbs, our cucumber and our carrot, and now all we add is our shrimp, our poached shrimp, which is, like I said, the star of this dish. So depending on your shrimp, these are pretty small to medium shrimp, so I'm gonna use 3 per wrap. If I had jumbo extra large shrimp, I'd probably shave them in half and use 1.5 for the roll. But just use your judgment. See, you want it to be pretty, you want all of your elements of the inside of the roll to be the same. So just make sure they're even and then you're good to go. And then from there, like I said, this is all just the technique. So it might take you a couple tries. If it does, that's fine. But what we're gonna do is bring our side in, and the rice paper does get very sticky, so you have to be gentle, but also work with it. So that's where the technique comes in, I suppose. But now I have my sides in now, and then you pull the bottom and you wrap it over, and then you wanna make sure that the roll is coming together pretty tightly. So like you would wrap a burrito, you know, pull it towards you and just wrap as tightly as you can. And we have our very cute little fresh spring roll wrap here. So, okay, so now we're gonna get going on our second spring roll now that we're in the jive of the rolling process. So again, we're gonna layer our bed with all these beautiful fresh herbs. Our fresh basil is gonna go down, our fresh mint. And if you like one herb more than the other, go heavier with that herb. They don't have to be equal parts, or you know, you're not looking for more mint flavor. It's completely customizable. And just like our lettuce wraps, this is a really nice dish that is pretty guilt-free. You have some poached shrimp. There is a little bit of carb in the rice paper, but besides that, it's fresh herbs and raw vegetables, so you can't really beat that. So we're gonna add a little bit of our cilantro to our bed of herbs here. Really nice freshness right there. We'll add our thinly sliced cucumbers. I'd probably add about 5 sticks or so in there. Some of our very thinly sliced carrot. Yummy, yummy. And now our shrimp go right on top again. We're gonna use 3 again because I think that rolled the shrimp roll pretty nicely. They fit well. All right, so time for technique again. We're gonna gently pull it over, but have it be nice and tight. Same to our other side here. The paper is gonna stick to whatever your bottom, whatever you're working off of. So just be aware of that, and that's why, again, it's a technique thing. You want it to be tight, but you don't wanna roll it so tight that you rip the paper. So like I said, these packs of rice paper rolls come about 30 to a pack, so you'll have plenty of practice room. So now my favorite part again, we're gonna taste our beautiful spring rolls that we just made. We have our peanut sauce that we made earlier, which would be a beautiful accompaniment for the shrimp roll. It goes really well with the shrimp, the nice herbs that are in there, the garlic and ginger that will complement it really well. But this time I'm going to use the chili honey garlic sauce that we use just because I haven't tasted that one yet. Both of these sauces would go awesome with the dish. So You can pour it on top, or I'm just gonna do a nice little dip. It's gonna be a big shrimpy bite, but I'm excited. It's so good. I like the honey in it. It's got the nice chili crunch. And these rolls, boy, they're just so refreshing. The herbs and the fresh vegetables, the lightness of the shrimp, and the flavor of the shrimp, because our poaching liquid was so flavorful. You can eat these shrimp single and they'd be good enough, but all of this going on is so delicious and so healthy. It's an excellent snack, so I hope you enjoy it. Hi y'all, welcome back to Skratchmade. We're gonna get going on our final dish of the day. We're still playing with some delicious Asian flavors in a very healthy way. So the last dish I'm gonna show you today is very simple sauteed edamame. It's not a lot of ingredients in this dish, but again, it's packed with flavor. It's low calorie, there's a lot of protein in it. It's great for meal, snack, meal prep. If you want to do it just as a dinner alone, I could definitely eat a full bowl of this by myself. So we have our pan warming up right here. As usual, we're going to start this dish with our sesame oil, probably about a tablespoon or so. We are going to use some minced garlic for this recipe. We're not using microplane garlic because we do want this to get crunchy a little bit for our crunchy garlic edamame. So we're going to add this to our oil. It does not need to make the sizzle sound when we add this to the pan, unlike our chicken that we want the really high heat to hit it, because we're sauteing garlic now. Once it starts going, it'll go fast. So it can burn really easily. So if we start with a lower heat, we can control the cooking process a little bit better and not come up with burnt garlic, because once you start to see it starts to go, it really starts to go fast, and it can go from the beautiful caramelized brown to black in less than a minute, and then you have to go back and mince all your garlic, and personally, I don't want to do that. So we'll just control this heat here. It's gonna take probably about a minute or two. You will start to hear the sizzle again, and that's how we know our garlic's going. And then everything's gonna come together a little quickly at that point. Once our garlic has fried, that's when we're gonna come in and add our soybeans. These are already shelled edamame. You can buy the non-shelled edamame at any store too, which are almost I prefer, because then they absorb the flavor that we're gonna have in there, and when you're eating them, you have to eat with your hands. It just makes it a little bit more fun, and you're pulling the pods through your teeth. You're getting all that extra flavor that they soaked up. So I like shelled edamame, but these are more convenient. There's no work, grab a fork or a spoon. That's it, you're good to go. So our garlic here is already starting to sizzle a little bit. You can see the little popping going on. It already looks a little browned, but that's because we're using our sesame oil, which is tinted with a little bit of color. If it was regular peanut or canola, they'd still be very white. So it'd be a little bit easier to see them caramelizing, but that's fine. You'll be able to start to smell them caramelize as well. I mean, I always say they should make a candle with sauteing garlic and onion smell, because I mean, there's nothing better to walk into a house with that kind of smell. So this garlic alone will become very fragrant, and you'll be able to know when it's getting to temp. Okay, so now I think you can even see that change, that depth of color there. It's gone from a light brown to a darker brown. They're crunchy now, they're no longer as soft as they were. So this is a great point where we're gonna add our edamame right to this hot pan. When we add the edamame, it's gonna help slow the cooking time of the garlic as well, which is what we want. You can even lower the heat. I had it on about medium high, but I'm gonna put it to medium low right now, because now that, like I said, our garlic is crunchy, we want to be careful not to over fry our garlic. The edamame, you buy the frozen bag and they're already par cooked, so you don't have to worry about parboiling them or anything like that. If these were fresh in the shell edamame, I would just parboil them maybe a minute in the water. Just let them in, they'll lightly change to a little bit lighter green. Strain them out, and then you can add them to the pool here. So from here, we're gonna add a decent amount of soy sauce, and this is gonna cook with the edamame, and the edamame is gonna absorb some of that flavor. Even though we added a very nice amount of soy sauce there, I am gonna hit them with just a little bit of table salt. It just helps bring out the flavor a little more. I guess the edamame don't absorb as much of the soy sauce as we cook the flavor out to make a little bit of a thicker sauce. So a little bit of salt is still a good thing in this recipe. So we're gonna add this, kick it back up to pretty high. We're gonna add just a little bit more of our rice wine vinegar. You can also substitute mirin, sake, any pungent, acidic Asian flavor is gonna be really nice here. I think you could even add some lemon juice if you'd prefer that, or lime juice, but this is a tried and true recipe for me, so I'm gonna keep to the basic way I know how to do it. And there's a lot of liquid in this pan now, so we're just gonna let this go a couple minutes wait for the water to be absorbed. And that's really it. I told you this recipe is super easy. While this is going, the last element we're gonna add is our handy dandy chili garlic sauce. Again, adds just a little bit of a kick. It adds a little bit more of that garlic flavor, and it's delicious. I mean, I could eat this stuff with a spoon. So we don't want to add that while the soy and rice wine vinegar are cooking down though. The chili garlic sauce will burn even faster than the garlic. So we're gonna leave that out until pretty much all this liquid is absorbed, and then give it a final toss in the chili garlic because it's cooked, it's ready to go. There will be enough residual heat from the edamame. We don't need to heat it. Everything will come together really nicely. So we'll give this a couple minutes on the stove, and then when we come back, I'll add the chili garlic and we'll have a nice bite. Okay, so all of our liquid has absorbed really nicely into our edamame there. It's not thin liquid anymore. It's coagulated a little bit, and it's made a nice sauce for our edamame. So from there, we're just gonna add our chili garlic right on top. This is add as much or as little as you like. This is to your preference. If you like them spicy, spice it up. If you like them mild, just add a pinch. And that's it. So you can see going on in the edamame here, some of them are caramelized a little bit from the soy, some of them are still a bit lighter, so there's gonna be some varying textures of flavor there, which is really nice. It's a delicious, healthy snack. I'm gonna top it with some fresh scallions here, just because we have them extra from the other dishes, so why not? You could add a little bit of fresh peanut if you wanted to add a extra crunch. Even after cooking these, you can add them to our chicken lettuce wraps. They'd be a great accompaniment with them as well. So my favorite part, taste testing. So just get in there and get a nice spoonful. Those are so good. They get creamy from being warmed up like that. You have the spice of the scallion. You have spiciness from the chili garlic sauce going on. You have the saltiness from the soy. Not too much salt. It's just, again, it's a really nice dish. And with all of these dishes, I think what the nice thing is you can eat them together. They can be separate meals. They can be snacks. They can be meal preps. This is something that you can pop in the microwave 2 days after the fact, and it's still gonna taste just as good. So I hope you've enjoyed cooking with me today. Okay, so now that all the hard part and all our cooking labor is done, we're gonna just go over the dishes that we made today. We have our beautiful garlic chili edamame topped off with some scallions, sauteed with a little soy sauce, some rice vinegar, and our chili garlic sauce. Couldn't be easier, couldn't be more delicious. We also have our ground chicken lettuce wraps here. They have both of our sauces, our creamy peanut sauce and our chili honey sauce, which both go so well with this dish. And lastly, we have our fresh shrimp spring rolls. They're over a bed of cilantro here. They have our chili honey dipping sauce to go with these again. Like I said, We can have our peanut sauce with these as well, which is why this is a really cool meal to put together, because you can have one by itself, you can have them all together, or you can mix and match as you like. So I hope you enjoyed cooking with me today. You can find me on my website, skratchmade.com. That's Skratchmade with a K, or my Instagram account, Skratchmade. You can Google me, Skratchmade by Chef Jaclyn. Thanks so much for being here with me today. Hope to see you again.